Blizzard just put out a 38-minute long presentation on Phase 2 of Season of Discovery, and man, there is a ton of information here, including things like new runes, the new professional items, a level boost pre-level 25, and of course, a bunch of details on the PvP event, as well as the Gnomeregan raid. So in this video, we're going to be covering all that stuff here. That way you guys are informed and prepared for Phase 2 once it goes live on February 8th. Okay, so why don't we just start out with the raid. So for Phase 2 of Season of Discovery, the raid is going to be Gnomeregan. This is of course located in Dun Morogh. This is going to be a level 40 raid. The raid size is going to be a 10-man, and there's going to be 6 bosses. It looks like we're going to be having 5 bosses from the Gnomeregan dungeon that are all going to be redesigned with new challenges in the raid for us to deal with. And then the 6th boss is going to be an entirely new character with a bunch of new mechanics and stuff that no one's ever seen before. Oh yeah, and then it's also been confirmed that there is going to be a brand new world buff with this dungeon. My guess is the turn-in for this is going to be an Ironforge, so I would say definitely get your Hearthstones set to that town. And of course, what would a new raid be without new items for us to chase after? So there's going to be a ton of new and unique item rewards for us to collect in this new raid. You can see here a preview of some of the items that are going to be obtainable in this raid, which I think looks really cool. And there's also going to be some new set items. On top of that, it looks like we're going to have some new profession quest lines to follow that will allow players to craft some really good items. As far as the release date for the raid and the raid schedule goes, it looks like it's actually going to be available at the launch of Phase 2, so you know, those people that are just gung-ho, they could probably get into the raid as quickly as possible. But it looks like the lockouts are going to be a little different this time. So it looks like the first reset of this raid is going to be on the 13th of February, and then the second is going to be on the 20th. And I guess what this means is basically it's going to allow those really hardcore players to get in there quickly, but it's also not going to penalize other players that want to kind of like, you know, take their time and level up slowly. And in this preview, they did note a couple of key features for some of the bosses. For instance, the Grabulus fight, there's going to be new radiation vents that may just come into play during the encounter. The Crowd Pummeler 960 is going to be a new boss fight that has been moved, and it's going to be taking place on a raised platform, and we're going to have a crowd apparently. And then for Mechaneer Thermoplug, there's going to be some new mechanical suits as part of his arsenal. So either way, this looks like a really good change to the Gnomeregan dungeon and being converted into a raid. I'm really excited for this, and I just cannot wait to get in there and try the new boss fights. We've also got some new quality of life improvements to the game. It looks like there's going to be some tomes to collect in some dungeons in Phase 2, and these tomes are going to help you with increasing things like your buff timers, like for paladins for example, and these are not going to be the same as runes, so you're not going to have to worry about using these or the new runes. And speaking of runes, it looks like they have decided to tease us with a couple of runes for every class. I'm not going to go and break down every single one of these, but I will highlight a couple of them. So for example, it looks like Druids are going to be getting Eclipse and King of the Jungle. Paladins are going to be getting Sheath of Light and Guardian of Light. Hunters are getting Melee Specialist and Trap Launcher. Warriors will be getting Rallying Cry and Blood Surge. Rogues will be getting Shuriken Toss and Master of Subtlety. Priests get Mind Spike and Pain Suppression. Warlocks get Invocation and Dance of the Wicked. Mages will be getting Missile Barrage and Chronostatic Preservation. Shamans get Maelstrom Weapon, Spirit of the Alpha, and Two-Handed Mastery. So just at a quick glance, it looks like some of these are going to be pretty hype. But if you're a mage player like me, then I don't know, these seem kind of boring. But either way, again, these are just a preview of a couple of them per class. There's still going to be a bunch others that have not been announced yet. Moving on to the PvP event that is going to be in Stranglethorn Vale. This one looks pretty interesting to me. So the way this one is going to work is there's going to be a new event called the Blood Moon. This event is going to occur every 3 hours, and it's going to have a duration of 30 minutes. So the way that this event is going to work is that as you kill players in STV during this event, you're going to be getting some new kind of currency that you're going to be able to trade in for different types of rewards. And it's really just as simple as that. Now, if you are someone who does not like PvP, you can actually opt out of this during the event, so you will not be affected by players doing this event. And they do mention that if you group up into a raid, basically there's going to be some really crazy stuff that happens. I don't know if there's going to be like a debuff on you or something like that, but basically there's going to be a deterrent to stop people from forming large groups. And as far as this event goes, here is a couple of items that were previewed as rewards from the currency in STV. So yeah, it looks like me as a mage player, I'm going to have to spend a lot of time there. And on top of that, it looks like there's going to be a couple of reskins for some new mounts that you guys can use at level 40 by doing this event. It looks like they're also going to be doing some adjustments to queue times as far as the battlegrounds goes. The idea here is they're trying to address the issue of solo players being matched up against pre-mage, which can be really frustrating. So what they're doing is they're basically making it so that if you're in a group of 5 or fewer, you're going to have a higher chance of being matched against another group of 5 or fewer. And then likewise, if you're in a group of 6 or more, again, you'll have a higher chance of being grouped against another group with 6 or more players. It looks like professions are going to be getting a really big update here. It says that there's going to be actually 20 new recipes spread across all the different professions for Phase 2, so that's quite a lot. The cap on professions for Phase 2 is going to be 225. And then as far as profession specializations goes, they said that those are going to be accessible during Phase 3. And then here is a couple of preview items for professions, so these look really good. And then as far as leveling goes, from the 1 to 25 bracket, they're actually going to be putting in a 50% experience buff for players of those levels, and that's going to help players kind of catch up to this next phase, and I think this is going to be really cool. This basically ensures that, regardless of when you come back to the game to try out Phase 2, you're really not going to be left behind, and it's going to be really easy for you guys to catch up and kind of get into all the action. Oh yeah, and then they're also banning GDKP runs, so people aren't going to be able to make a profit off of raiding anymore, which is awesome in my opinion. I think the whole GDKP thing is super toxic and sweaty, and it has no place in the game. So yeah, that's it for this preview of Phase 2 in SOD. I hope you guys really enjoyed this one because man, I am super excited for Phase 2. If you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit that like button, as well as subscribe to the channel. Also, tell me what your guys' thoughts are or your plans for Phase 2 in the comments section. Thanks again for watching, I'm still Solo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.